Yo, good morning guys. Welcome back to another vlog. And in today's video, I just wanted to talk about the idea of time management and productivity. Reason that is because lately I've been thinking about all of these conversations that I've been having with coworkers and friends, and whenever we're getting into the topic of, hey, I want to start a new side business, I want to start a new side hustle, I want to start going to the gym, I want to get back in shape, all of these things that they want to do, whether it's like a passion project or anything that I just mentioned, it always goes great until they hit me with the finisher of that sentence, which is, but I never have enough time. Yeah, I want to do these things, but I never have enough time. You know, the drive to work takes an hour, drive home takes an hour, and then I need 2 hours to get ready, make my breakfast, and then I barely get any sleep, so I'm trying to squeeze in 7 to 8 hours of sleep, whatever, right? They have their reasons, and I've definitely been a victim to this as well, because there's been many moments in my life where I've felt like I've never had enough time, or I at least would wonder where would all of it go. And based on my previous life experiences and what others are telling me with what's going on with their life, it all comes down to just poor time management. If I'm being totally honest, it's poor time management. So I've drafted up just a couple notes on my journal on the things that I've implemented into my life that have drastically improved performance, productivity, the way I manage my time, and just getting the most out of my day. So the first thing that I have is creating a calendar. So very rudimentary advice. Guys, none of this advice is really drastic or extravagant. All of this stuff is basic, but it's basic that works. I feel like we overcomplicate things. So you got to create a calendar. How you create this calendar, in my opinion, just at least it works for me, is you create the calendar, whether it's through your Google Calendar, the calendar on your phone, whatever, or if you want to write it down by pen on paper, you could do that. But write it down, and then write down the things that are mandatory, your non-negotiables. So one thing for me is just my normal 9 to 5 job. You know what? Let me just show you, okay? So I'll show you yesterday's calendar and I'll show you today. Because yesterday was a weekday and then today's a weekend. So right now it's Saturday morning. So yesterday, Friday, this is what my day would look like, okay? I'm going to try to focus here. So this is what the calendar looks like on Friday. So I usually get up at 3 in the morning, and then I have my morning routine. So I'll make a cup of coffee, hydrate with water. I'll read or journal depending on how I'm feeling. And then from 3:30 in the morning all the way up until 7:30 in the morning, I'll just be working on the online business and just content creation, which I'm really trying to improve the quality on a significant scale this year. And during that period of time, I also had a coaching call online from 6 a.m. to 6:45. Well, it lasted a little bit longer than that. It just bled into my timing of breakfast and meal prep. So that's another thing too about setting a calendar, because there are times where you get off track, but if you list down the things that you have to do and you know what phase you're supposed to be in, it helps you get back on track, right? Versus if you get side tangent or sidetracked with something and you took a little longer, or things escalated, and then you don't have your other things written down, you could forget the things that you have to do. So right after, let me see if we can focus. So right after that coaching call, I knew that I had to eat breakfast and meal prep, right? And then I account for the minute details, which is showering and changing, commute to work, right? And then my work hours. So I know that time is blocked off. And then during work, I went to get a haircut, during my break, whatever, right? And then commute, and then evening routine, right? And then now we're going into today. So I still get up at the same time. So what I've been doing is just waking up at the same time every single day. It doesn't matter if it's a weekday or weekend. Honestly, I think it's just a social construct. Anyways, I don't want to deviate. So still have the same morning routine, and then I'm still working on my online business and creating content, which is what I'm doing right now. So it's 6:01 a.m. So I'm still on track with my schedule. And then usually on Saturdays, I do a 2 mile run, which in today's case, I'm not going to do a 2 mile. I'm probably just going to do one and then hit legs and then commute. And then this is basically what the rest of my day looks like. So because it's a weekend, I have this blue time block here where I could do whatever I want. I don't have to be productive if I don't want to. And then I follow my same ritual morning routine. Okay? So that's like the most important thing to me when it comes to time management is my calendar, because I know what I'm doing for each hour of the day. I know how long things will take as far as commute, showering, just all of the times of slippage, right? When you're doing like the in between, you're not actually performing a task or doing something that actually moves the needle forward. So I have everything accounted for. Of course, there's always room for improvement on that calendar, but that's number one. Okay, you have to make sure that you have a calendar created, and then that leads to my next point. They kind of go hand in hand, which is list down your non-negotiables, right? So I have a few non-negotiables. The first one is get up at 3 in the morning every single day. So this was actually newly implemented. So for those of you guys who are wondering, like, no, it hasn't always been like this, but it's been like this for about 3 weeks now. And I feel great. Like, I get the most out of my day. We're already 3 hours in, and I've gotten so much done already. So that's one non-negotiable for me. And then on a training day, my non-negotiable is be at the gym by 5 a.m. Or if I have to, for some reason, train on a weekend, the earliest time that my gym opens is 7 a.m. So I have to be there 7 a.m. So just, you have to write these things for you that are non-negotiable. Like, they're mandatory. They have to happen no matter what, right? Another non-negotiable for me is I have to make my bed, okay? Does that directly drive progress into my day? No. However, it indirectly does. And how? Well, if I make my bed, if I get up in the morning on time and then I make my bed and I'm diligent with the way I make my bed, it bleeds into other aspects of my life within the micro portion of it, and then it bleeds into the macro. How? So I make my bed, I'm diligent with the way I tuck it in, the way I set the pillows, and then with that preset, I'm more diligent with the way I make my cup of coffee. I'm more diligent with my outfit selection for the day. I'm way more diligent with brainstorming, journaling, reading. I'm way more diligent with my workflow. I'm way more diligent with my 9 to 5 job. I'm more diligent into everything. And then that just helps me smash the day. And then when I smash the day, I smash the week. And then when I smash the week, smash the month, right? And it all compounds. So write down your non-negotiables, the things that have to happen. And the cool thing is, what I like about non-negotiables is just the fact that they're mandatory. So even if you deviate from your calendar, right? Things come up, life happens. You know these are non-negotiable. You have to get these things done. So, example, let's just say I slept in. Let's say I snoozed, right? I didn't wake up at 3 a.m. I actually woke up at 5. But that's when I have to be at the gym. So I'm already 2 hours behind. So what do? I do the same thing. I get up and then I'm at the gym by 6, right? 6:30, whatever. And then I'm just behind on a few more things, but I'll work around it, right? But it happens anyways. Now, let's just say I have some more important tasks in the morning and I can't. Well, then I have to go after work, right? So that the point that I'm trying to get at is these non-negotiables will happen regardless if you stay on pace with your calendar or if you get deviated. You have to find a way to fit it in regardless. You might sacrifice on sleep, you might sacrifice on time, going out with your friends, but these things have to happen because these are the things that drive the needle forward, right? The non-negotiables that you list down should be the things that drive progress into your life, where you will see change over time, where these inputs will be the driving factors of the outputs that you're looking for, okay? The third thing that I have listed on my journal is just eliminating distractions. So distractions can vary for everybody, but for me, I know it's social media, okay? So one thing that I do is I purposely delete my social media platforms on my phone. The reason I do this is because I don't want incentive to go check my phone. Like, I need my phone for work because I have to use my iMessage, my WhatsApp, Slack, all of these other softwares related to work. So to make sure that the phone is more of a tool and not a distraction, I just get rid of it straight up. And what I like about deleting Instagram and my socials is that it's so inconvenient to download it, to log back in, and then to do what I need to do, which is create posts, filler posts for stories just to show that I'm active, or answer DMs, anything like that, and then log back out. And then having to do that all over again. So it makes it really inconvenient for me. And I like that because it doesn't incentivize me to check my phone, see what other people are up to. I don't care. So that's one way I eliminate my distractions. Now, if you don't want to be that extreme, totally cool. There's so many different ways you can go about it. You can just have your notifications silenced, or when you're in a working period that requires your full attention and focus, you could put your phone on airplane mode. So many ways you can go about it. All right. Another distraction for me is sugar. I love sugar. When I get stressed, sometimes I want to stress eat. When I have a bad day, sometimes I just want to get some Night Owl cookies or something. So what I do to make sure that I don't have any distractions is I simply don't take any of it home. So as much as I love sugar, there's not any kind of sugar in my apartment. Whatever's in my fridge, pantry, it's all healthy stuff, right? So if it doesn't make it back home, I'm not going to eat it. And sugar is just one of my weaknesses. I will binge on it if I see it. I could finish a whole box of cookies, any kind of sweets, cake, whatever, right? So that's another distraction of mine. I make sure it doesn't come home. I make sure I don't touch it in the workplace because I have coworkers who sometimes bring donuts, bring cake, things like that. I make sure I don't even enter the break room. I don't want to see it because I'm going to eat it. So you got to eliminate the distractions, right? Sometimes it could be certain social circles that could be a distraction. I'm not saying you have to cut them off, but you have to know when to limit yourself and distance yourself when your time and focus is required. Okay. Another distraction of mine is just music. Like, I love music. I love listening to Drake. I love Dave Central C. Love Lil Baby, all that, right? And then my R&B. As good as this music is, I realize that it distracts me whenever I'm trying to get into a workflow. I can't think properly. My thoughts aren't clear because I'm just hearing the bass and I'm hearing the hats and the kicks. And all of these lyrics are like, it's just smashing my head. So I can't do it. So what I do to eliminate that is I just listen to Brain FM. Brain FM or some kind of focus playlist on Spotify that has no lyrics. And I keep the volume very minimal. Like, I dial it down where I can just subtly hear it. That way my thoughts are louder and clearer. Okay, so these are just ideas for you. So you got to eliminate your distractions. Your environment is a very key role into your productivity and your performance, right? One more example that I have is just keeping this apartment spick and span. Actually, everything that I have is clean. So my car is clean. The office space that I use at work is clean. There's nothing that is out of order, right? I know some people like that organized chaos look, but for me, any kind of clutter, hate crumbs, like all this stuff, sticky notes, just a bunch of clutter, I hate it. I can't think, I can't focus, and I end up getting frustrated, and then it just ruins my workflow, right? So you have to nitpick all of these little nuances in your life to make sure that you get max productivity and performance, okay? And then the last thing that I have for this video, it's not really a productivity tip, it's more of a performance tip. And that is being diligent with everything that you do. You have to be diligent with the way you set your calendar, the way you structure your time. Like the way I showed my calendar, I'm accounting for the time I wake up, getting ready. I'm accounting for my commute, my shower time, getting ready, breakfast, meal prep, all of that. Because it's always the minute and small details. When you focus on the the little details, the little nuances, that's what smoothens out the process, and that's what really drives everything forward, right? You want to make everything as smooth and seamless as possible, in my eyes, right? It's always the little things for me where I've seen explosive progress into my life, right? A little thing such as just making my bed, it has a profound butterfly effect into everything else that I do, right? So be diligent in the way you plan out your calendar, your day. Some people like to plan out the night before. I really like the night before. I also like planning the week before. Planning your week is a game changer, right? But to be able to do that, you have to be very, very diligent and particular with how you're managing that time. Okay? And the point and a half that I have after that is just be diligent with everything that you do. Okay? It bleeds into all aspects of your life. I don't care if you're a McDonald's worker. I don't care if you work retail. I don't care where you come from. Okay? Be diligent in everything that you do. It really annoys me when I were working these kind of jobs before, when I was in retail or just working like more of these entry level jobs, like rudimentary entry jobs. I would always run into a coworker that would slack off or just half-ass their work because, oh, well, this is just temporary. Like, this is not really my dream. Like, I don't want to be here forever. This is just part-time for me, right? But what they fail to realize is that how you do one thing is how you do everything. At least that's the way I see my world, and that's what's worked for me, okay? How you do one thing is how you do everything. Because when I was a porter at a Honda dealership, I was probably like 16 at the time. One of the closing jobs was to clean the bathrooms. And I was only being paid $10 an hour at that time. But I made sure that those bathrooms were cleaned spick and fucking span. I did not hold back on the quality of my work. I didn't care. People could have looked down upon me. I don't know. I was too busy making sure that the bathrooms were fucking A1, clean, right? And that has compounded into every other aspect of my life. There's a butterfly effect, right? Because now, take the guy, I guess we could use me as an example. Take someone who has worked an entry level position that they didn't care about, right? It was nothing to them. It was just there to simply collect a check. But they were working with diligence in everything that they did, whether it was just the main job itself or the closing job or the weird miscellaneous things in between. Now imagine if you're already working that hard and you're being that much diligent in something you don't care about. Imagine how much harder you'll go when you actually do something that you care about, or when you find the one, when you find the career, when you find the business model, when you kind of unlock that part of you where it's like, oh, I know this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. You're going to execute on that. You're going to take action on that with the highest level of diligence and quality as possible. You are going to go so much harder. It's different when you're passionate about something. So you have to be diligent in everything that you do. Do not slack off, right? Most likely, if you're watching my videos, you're probably a younger guy. You probably want the finer things in life, okay? I want the finer things in life too. And I'm not saying I have all of these things. I'm still a work in progress, right? And what I'm finding is when I see glimpses of success, when I receive blessings in this life, it all comes down to the diligence that I put in. It is the cause of the effect that I'm seeing with my life, right? With career, with women, my personal development. When you are diligent in everything, I prioritize diligence in my communication, diligence in my content creation, diligence in my marketing, diligence into my health. I do not slack off on anything. It all compounds. And that goes back into managing your time, right? When you're just a diligent person, it'll flow everywhere. You will be way more particular with how you spend your time. You will be way more analytical of where your time goes. You will be more analytical of how you could better manage this time. How can you leverage it more? Okay? So it's not exactly a productivity tip, but this kind of performance, this kind of attitude is essential. It goes into everything. Your productivity, your clarity, your cognitive ability, your communication skills. Do not be just one of these people who are just hunched back like this at the office, doing nothing. I want you to be switched on as much as possible. This is what drives high performance and productivity. Okay? So that's the bow tie of all of this. You could do all of these things that I just mentioned, which we'll summarize, right? Create your calendar, write down your non-negotiables, right? Eliminate your distractions. You know, all of these things work, but they will work so much better if you are diligent in everything that you do. So that's all I have in today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you found some kind of value in it. If you have any kind of questions or if you want me to go over any kind of topics, my Instagram is at itsjoshvillerin. I'll also put it in the description below. But until then, hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.